Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st Millennium. I am Inquisitor Caveat Ventus, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is my report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesys adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee, Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Laura Elizabeth as Marni Schwartzenberger, and Tyler Hewitt as Attikus Vis. My report shows that the Inquisitorial band have arrived at the gift shop. Attikus put on a disguise, Marni suggested convincing the populace to rebel, and Valentyne murdered their guide to protect their secret. What will happen inside the gift shop after a homicide? Find out in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
From a small piece of paper taped next to the cash register in the gift shop of the Vicodin plant. A fool and their crowns are easily parted. Part many fools with many crowns. Or face the scourge. In a puddle of blood, there used to be a peasant named Fahugwagas. The fine peasants of Vicodin continue to pound upon the broken body and flesh of the only person who you'd given fake names to, and the only person who knew you were here or what was going on, which has allowed the three of you to make it to the famed gift shop. Elysium is nigh. We have arrived in Valhalla, and by that, of course, I mean the gift shop. With an annoying tinkle of bells, you see the last of the parade move in. Luckily, aside from the skull crawlers who were kind of being given the victory treatment, you know, the grand parade, and a few of them were wounded. You recall Dyreth Vardar was specifically called out. Yep. And Attikus, you'll remember he was the one who betrayed you at the breach. The only fellow you talked to on the Skullcrawler unit. So you're aware that most, if not the entire surviving unit is present and inside. That said, most of the rest of the wounded warriors are kind of on their own to get in, which seems kind of crummy, but very much in line with the kind of nature of this based on what you've seen so far. The three of you are outside the gift shop. The last of the wounded warriors and some of the entourage are going in. There are members of the press there, which is to be expected, you suppose. Seems to be local press, but in all likelihood, given that Vicodin clearly has connections sort of system and galaxy-wide, anything like this would be a tremendously good photo op to drum up business. So this is the kind of thing that, I mean, I guess really only Valentyne you would know will show up on other planets like 2 years from now as, you know, propaganda. It's the information of this nature doesn't travel quickly in the Imperium, but it does travel when you want to make your product known. So the three of you are outside the gift shop. People are still sort of stragglers are making their way in. How do you want to approach this? The blood still kind of fresh on the soles of your feet from where you were splattered with it as you turned and moved away from the mob.
I guess we'd probably just move forward trying to blend with the crowd. Like, this is probably, in Valentyne's opinion, to be the, like, we're going to play it as though we belong, so we don't need to walk too quickly. We don't need to sneak. We can gawk a little bit. Like, it's like when I would walk at work around trying to look busy, even though I wasn't busy when I used to work at, like, a restaurant, because then they wouldn't make me do a job. Right.
Okay.
I would do laps at HMV.
I used to book it into the back of Lululemon with a clipboard and then just sigh a lot. And people would ask, like, oh, hey, you know, what are you looking for? I was like, someone requested, you know, the Hill Runner pants. And they're like, I'm pretty sure I don't sell those anymore. I'm like, yeah, I know. I figured I'd check. You know what? Maybe there's still some in the stack out front. Then I just walk out with the clipboard to the front and be equally flustered. Joke's on them. There's no such thing as Hill Strider pants. I made that shit up. That's right. I'm a rebel without stretchy pants. Okay, so that makes sense. Attikus and Marni, how would you be approaching this? I know you tend to follow Valentyne's lead, but unfortunately, given everything that just went down with Fohogwagas, you don't actually have a whole hell of a lot of, like, you can't really plan this. He's doing that. And I'm curious, would you try and imitate it? Would you try and do something that's more familiar to you? What do you do?
Attikus would act like a customer. We're going to the gift shop to buy some kind of meaningless trinket. So think about that and act like that.
Well, I mean, from a method acting perspective, you do have someone you want to buy a gift for. All three of you determined people you wanted to buy gifts for. Now, granted, the only person who knew what those were is dead, but you know in your heart of hearts.
Yeah, that's why Valentyne wanted it. So everyone would have an actor's secret, as one could think of it.
Marni, how about you?
As much as I would like to be like totally chill and cool about this, I don't think Marnie's really capable of that, having just, lived killing orcs. So I think she's gonna be like she's gonna try to seem casual, but is also gonna be like on heavy alert, looking in every single direction. And like, yeah, I think her version of casual is probably like military, like casual, walking through a town that probably has like, it's filled with enemies, but they're trying to look cool. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. So Laura, can you roll me a vigilance, please?
Yes, I can.
So that is the skill vigilance and willpower. I'm going to say difficulty 3 because you're trying to act casual in a very confined space.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll give you a boost for the outfit.
All right.
And forgive me, it's Attikus who's wrapped up like a mummy? Or
Yeah,
Marni
Attikus is
wrapped up
disguised
like a
because the
bandaged up.
Skullcrawlers would recognize him. Valentyne's got an arm and a sling to fake an injury to explain why he's not on the battlefield. And Marni has just got her bandages from being all fucked up inside her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marni's just
That's
living it.
Yeah.
Great.
The most method of any of us.
All right, rolling. That wash.
You're a leaf on the wind. All right, so yeah, that's where you should clutch yourself for that one, actually. Okay, interesting. So weirdly, through a tremendous confluence of luck and or the Golden Emperor's will,
Protecting the righteous. That's what he does.
It's how he be.
There is no luck. Shut up.
Yeah. Even though like you've completely failed at the vigilance that Marni herself would want to achieve, you don't like as you're making your way into the gift shop. There's the tingle of bells, and immediately you kind of look up and realize you're not checking your corners, so you start trying to check your corners. But there's just
I realized the door might have actually been like trapped.
100%. There's spinny racks everywhere. I think in terms of how to imagine this gift shop, it's not like a small kind of like low ceiling boxed in little space. It's actually pretty big. Again, you can tell how much pomp and circumstance was built around the factory. And kind of once you're inside, it almost feels like this would have probably been a dining hall back when this was a castle. Like it's a pretty sizable, like, sliced in half, but still like high ceilings, sort of Gothic arches. So it's more like a gift shop in a fancy museum or an art gallery than like a gift shop, I don't know, like a train station, if that makes any sense. So that means it looks classier, but it's still full of garbage. So there's like spinny racks, as Fohogwagas saw with his last dying breaths, bottles of Vicodin everywhere. I think a good way to think of this is a cross between like a bottle shop and a brewery and a gift shop. So there's like bottle openers and commemorative steins and like all that garbage. But then there's also just like booze everywhere because they know ultimately why you're here. You didn't come to tour the grounds and say, what an interesting distilling process. Wow, science is fascinating. You came to get lit. So, unfortunately, Marni, you're a little overwhelmed. You've never been in a gift shop before. This amount of liquor actually does kind of seem like heaven, but you also don't understand why there's hats with the logo, because they wouldn't protect you from any serious injury, nor would they be particularly effective for keeping the sun out, because they have stupid holders in the side with straws. Attikus, since you're coming in as a customer, you blend in perfectly. And sorry, Marni, just to cap that off, even though you fail at vigilance, you actually do fit in, because you just look like someone who's walked in and is like a tourist in Times Square, just like looking around at all the sights.
Nice.
So it's a wash, largely because you don't get to do the thing you're trying to do, but kind of by failing, you end up doing it. Emperor be praised. Attikus, you walk in with purpose, and immediately you you feel eyes on you. You can see some of the skull crawlers kind of making, again, like we described them back in your origin episode, as essentially like the team from Predator. So like these are beefcake folks.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like bulls in a china shop, just kind of like bumping around, not quite fitting. That said, their eyes pass across you several times with absolutely no recognition. That said, you are also spotted by the most dangerous of all gift shop enemies, staff. And immediately a couple people start making their way over, because you look like a man with money to burn. And Valentyne, you have, of course, taken the lead. You stepped inside with some degree of authority, arm in a sling. I believe you flipped your logo, so you've got Commissar out right now, right?
Yep, the rosette's hidden inside the chest plate, and he's got the Commissar out, so he just looks like a Commissar. There's no Inquisition sign on him.
Great. So there's you see, I think as the staff descends on Attikus, a reporter descends on you. He's got a very, like, one of the things I love about the early 40K sketches is they're just full like Terry Gilliam 13 monkeys. Like everything is just like fucking bananas proportions and weird.
Oh, you're talking like original John Blanche bullshit, right?
Yeah. I'm talking like, oh, so acid, huh?
Yeah, it's all like, for anybody who hasn't seen that art, it's all almost like pencil sketch style, and he only ever used like black, red, and maybe yellow. And it was, very much like a 40K version of that, like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark style art. Like it's all weird and kind of shitty and great.
And like this is an extraordinarily specific X-Men reference, but if you know what the character Phalanx looks like from like X-Force, he's just like a guy, like a weird kind of like very 90s like robot guy with like spiky hair, and his face is really like, he almost looks like a mascot. A lot of them are that, like the proportions are just completely, like a lot of his like Space Marines look like the front of a car. Like they look like if you drew an angry face on the front of a car, like the Joker mobile or some shit, but like that's just it was so weird. Anyway, this guy looks like that. He's got like sort of a bunch of weird Seuss, like Dr. Seuss machinery on. He's got like a big fucking gramophone over his shoulder. Everything in heavy brass. And he's got you can see his actual arms are constantly pushing on what almost looks like a ratty accordion, and it's operating 6 tiny little arms that are constantly writing down whatever he's saying. So you can tell he is some kind of reporter. His face and stuff doesn't look like the wacky drawing. It's just everything he's wearing is a weird wacky drawing. And he sort of comes trundling over, and he's got a smile on that Valentyne, you recognize as that of a career sycophant. You know this look well, and let's start with him. So he comes sort of stumbling over and says, greetings, Commissar. A wounded warrior indeed, a warrior par excellence. Truly a hero of the Imperium, and you have come to shop in this fine store. Pray tell, what is your war story?
Well, I appreciate being called a hero, but the real hero are the men and women at the front line of the Imperial Guard. I am not as brave as they, I am not as strong as they, but I carry the strength of the Emperor, and I am his justice on the field, and we will scourge the Xenos from this realm. However, I hurt my arm in an accident, and now I'm here to buy a gift or something.
There you have it, folks. A true hero. He made a boo-boo on his arm while fighting the Xenos threat. Of course, far from here, as Vicodin has no Xenos threat to speak of, only delicious spirits. And we can't fight those no matter how much our psychers try. Anyway, I am Varen of Trinity here with yet another war hero. Before I let you go, sir, the Trinity Network would like to know very much, which is your favorite Vicodin beverage? And he kind of waves his hand, and one of the monks, like the peasant monks you saw from outside with the V branded on his face, comes over with a small tray with 3 different types of Vicodin. As we talked about previously, there are a number of varietals of Vicodin. There's one that has kind of become the prime brand over the years, but there are some other kind of older ones that are still kept going for legacy purposes, to honor the many generational ownership of this distillery. So for you, he's got Vicodin Heritage, which is the original recipe. He's got Vicodin, which is just the standard popular drink right now. And he's also got Hot and Honey Vicodin, which is a new one they're trying. He says, so which of these is your favorite? And please, let's hear those tasting notes.
Oh, you want me to try all 3? Well, as a frontline soldier, it's the least I can do.
And he'll reach for the heritage and say,
The heritage of the Emperor. It's a glorious thing to be brought to this world and to the Vicodin name.
and then he'll, I guess, drink that motherfucker.
I'm going to need a deception from you, sir.
Yeah, that feels right.
Having decided to purge the planet and being aware that at least one of these Vicodin beverages is made of Xenos.
It's all of them. He definitely think it's all of them.
Great. So yeah, this is a minor act of heresy. And admittedly, you've committed to doing some heresy in the name of saving the Emperor. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a fucking name for the show. But it is still, you're both deceiving him as a reporter and also kind of yourself. Like this is a bleak moment. So I'm going to say difficulty of 2. I'm going to give you 1 setback because he is recording everything you say and do. So it's just a little bit of extra stress. I'm also going to give you an additional setback because while you're talking to this idiot, you have no idea what Marni and Attikus are up to. And while you trust Attikus to not completely shit the bed on this, Marni could very well have started a war by now.
Yeah.
Baby, the war never ended.
Grimdark, baby!
Tom, just to throw this out there,
Yeah,
I
bud.
do have Tempered Will, which lets me remove one black, I can't remember what those dice are called.
Setback.
Challenge? 1 setback die inflicted by injuries, the disoriented condition, or fear from checks. Could I avoid a distraction with that, do we think?
Yeah, I also feel like with a name like Tempered Will, that absolutely applies to a situation like this, even though this is strictly speaking isn't any one of those. I feel like it speaks to the idea of like you can gird your loins against bad things and
I feel like he can avoid distraction with his will in the same way of just like this weird environment and being taped in panic and then just spout platitudes. So okay, I'll remove 1 setback.
We've been to networking events where we had to do shots we didn't want, like what's up.
Yeah.
Great.
Alrighty. And then our story points, I'm not using one right now, but we're 2 and 2 right now?
Yes, we're still 2 and 2.
Great.
Cool.
1 success and 2 advantage.
Excellent. I mean, you hate to admit it because admitting it would be heresy, but man, that goes down good. Orcs make tasty liqueurs, as it turns out.
Yikes.
But yeah, it's good. It's probably not to your taste, given that Amasek is again like the galaxy standard beverage, and particularly I think having grown up in guard circles, there's no chance that like that would be I think what your head jumps to is like this is the liquor you get. But it's not bad. And you can tell that the you're giving Varen exactly what he wants. So the nice thing is it's not like he's trying to catch you in a lie or anything, because you're literally just giving him the perfect sound bites to pump the propaganda. So he smiles broadly, revealing completely blackened teeth, and just says, "Ah, a man with classical tastes. Very good. Well, once again, this is Varen of Trinity with another hero of the Imperium enjoying a nice, refreshing Vicodin after a long journey from where he fought the Xenos. Please swing by and enjoy, and don't forget to enjoy responsibly." A wink. He, as soon as he says that, like, his shoulders slump, and he just starts stretching out his arms. He's like, "Oh, Emperor's left foot! My arms hurt so much. Oh, this is an exhausting line of work. Wish I could borrow that sling there, pal. You mind if I join you in the last 2 shots here?"
Oh, feel free, It's always important to make friends when we're not on the battlefield. It's one of those things that's very key to being a commissar, is making sure you stay in touch with regular humanity to know what you're defending. So why don't you tell me more about this place and what's going on behind the scenes? What's the hot goss, as one might say?
Well, it's rare someone actually asks me to tell what's actually going on. Mostly I'm just supposed to find the most impressive looking person and ask them to tell me nice things. But I'm going to need a few minutes for my arms to recover from all that accordioning. So, sure, buddy, bottoms up. And with one last mighty heave, he pushes the weird mechanical accordion together, and one of his tiny arms reaches out, mechanical arms, grabs the shot, and he reaches up to cheers you.
I'll cheers him. Let's go for this.
Great. Do you take the hot and honey or the?
He took one already. So what did he take?
Tyler, which one did he take?
He took the hot and honey.
Great.
Going with the classic, definitely an orc Vicodin.
Fantastic. So with that, you cheers to the health of the Emperor, and you throw him back in the hopes that loose lips do in fact help sink ships. Meanwhile, Attikus, you have staff descending on you, who are very eager. They say it's a woman approaches you, wearing like a nicer version of the Vicodin robes from outside, and she just says, "Welcome to your gateway to Vicodin bliss. We're so happy to have you, and thank you for your sacrifice in the name of our glorious Golden Lord, Glasgow Vicodin. Truly the greatest in the entire pantheon of heroes, maybe even gods. At least, I'm sure you'll find that to be true once you've had his heavenly beverages. Please, come in. What can we get you?"
Postcards.
She just looks awkwardly at like the many racks of postcards surrounding you, and she says, "Oh, are none of these to your taste?"
Oh, there they are. No, I'm all right then.
I see. Must be the bandages.
45 degrees to the right.
Tyler,
my uncovered eye.
how does Attikus feel about the naked blasphemy this woman just threw out about the Emperor? Stomach that?
It's a good thing that his face is bandaged. That is why he was also rather terse. Just kind of like, we're not talking anymore. I'm looking for this.
Understood. Great. Okay.
I don't want you to speak anymore. You say the bad words when you talk.
So she clearly seems a little put off in the way that only a customer service rep who arrives to find you having already found the thing you want, not needing them, thus damning them to more boredom on the sales floor. And instead, she goes off to help someone else. You hear the sound of pistons behind you, and you hear a gruff voice say, "Hey, pal, war hero here. Get out of the fucking way. Gotta get the postcards." And you turn to see Karasit Skullcrawler, reaching like remarkably daintily over your shoulder in that way people do when they're trying to reach things in a store that's too crowded, going for a postcard.
I will wordlessly step aside.
Great. She cycles through several postcards. I recently had to buy a card at the local drugstore. And everyone, myself included, who has to sort through cards just looks like a weird kind of idiot where you're just like, well, maybe is there an envelope? And it's literally that routine. She's like looking at 3 or 4 postcards of like the rolling green highlands and everything else. You don't know when these photos were taken. The cards all look relatively recent, but it's clear that they've been recycling cards of like better, days gone by.
Yeah.
So anyway, she debates between a few and then finally settles on the first one she picked up because we all do it. And says, yeah, nice. And she gives you another quick look and says, sorry about the face there, pal. Tough break.
As she's been perusing these postcards, I've been standing in front of her, just holding a postcard in front of me, but watching her intensely, just not
Single
moving.
eye over a postcard.
Yeah. Just holding a postcard kind of at chest height. And as soon as she like kind of comes back around to address me, like my eyes like search for something, I just look at the postcard in front of me and say, what was that?
Oh, I just said sorry about your face. It's a tough break.
Oh, yes.
Should get that checked out too. That sounds unhealthy. All right. Well, enjoy your pleb tour. Me and the elites got dinner plans, and she kind of pats her stomach. And she says, "I've been saving room for this particular delicacy. So, see you on the battlefield, kid. Try not to get any more scars."
Right. Bye.
Yeah. She leaves. She returns and she looks to the 2 dates she brought, and they're both looking very expectantly. And you see that she only brought back 1 postcard. She kind of looks between them, and her shoulders kind of tense. And you realize, for all of her bluster, like she is really bad at dating 2 people, and this was clearly an overstep on her part. It's not going to change the way you kill her or anything. It's just an amusingly strange thing.
I mean, it might, because now there's 2 people I could make her watch die. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, yeah, good to know. Good to know. Yeah. In the grim darkness of the future, there is only potential targets. Eventually, she tears the postcard in half and gives 1 to each of them, and they both seem extra disappointed by that. You can tell that they hate each other. But then she gets her arm candy, 1 on each arm, and leads them out. You can see, Attikus, as you kind of track her with your eyes, that the Skullcrawler unit is being taken out through a side door. So there's kind of like a big, massive archway that says like this way to Delicious. That clearly leads into like the tours proper. There's like a rope set up and everything else. They're going through a staff-only door. All of them are going through a staff-only door.
I'll play up the coughing and clear my throat loud enough for Marni and Valentyne to hear, and I will just 1 eye over to this side exit.
So, Marni, you've been just taking in the sights, trying to act natural. What do you think would be the strangest thing that Marni would fixate on in this situation?
I think she would find like snow globes, and I think she would take one and like approach the nearest salesperson and just ask oh, fuck. It's so hard to do this accent after Tyler talks.
You know her 1 line that gets you into the voice.
Bullshit. All right. What is the blast radius of this?
And the sales rep turns around. He says, "Oh, ma'am, not too much. Just if you drop it and it breaks, there'll be some specks or some shiny specks that go everywhere with some water and a bit of broken glass, but not too big, and you can clean it up real quick with a mop."
If I throw it with force instead of dropping it, how far does the glass go?
Ma'am, I feel at this juncture I must ask you, do you want it to be a big explosion or a small explosion?
I would like it to be relatively large.
Oh, okay. That's rather good to know. I was going to continue to lie about the workmanship and imply that if you dropped it, it would not explode. It will be rather large if you throw it real hard. Frankly, if you touch it at all, it will likely break. They're rather cheap. As you can see, we don't have very good manufacturing facilities here. So if you throw it, it's a little bit like a weak bomb.
Why would this be bad?
And he gets like a shy grin on his face. And he kind of like runs like does that thing where like he just like reaches out to like pat your like bicep, but he's clearly trying to see just how jacked you are while doing it. And he's like, well, ma'am, most people aren't as strong as you, and they're a little bit intimidated about, you know, people who are, oh my, made of such epic muscle, ma'am.
I do not understand why you are saying this, but I accept it. Where do I charge my power pack now?
And like someone at a restaurant asking if they can charge their phone behind the bar, he gives you a truly tortured look because like he wants this conversation to go on, but he's also not allowed to do that. Also, like, weapons aren't really supposed to be a thing in here, but you don't have a gun attached to it. He says, well,
Laura, I think you just have a regular backpack. We blew up your power pack, and you only have a las gun now.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
No, that was for my plasma gun, right?
Nope. The plasma gun blew up underground. I used your backpack as an improvised explosive to blow up a car.
This is true.
Oh my god, I don't have my hell gun or hell pistol.
You are correct.
Right now. Fuck. I didn't have that written down.
He sees you point to your back, and he takes it as an excuse to check out your butt. And he's like, but well, ma'am, it would seem that your power pack is all charged up.
God. Oh my god, he's too horny to work here.
And then I look around and I say, I do not understand what you are saying. I forgot that I did not have my normal backpack. There is no charge in this one. Why do you say these things? Why is this confusing?
At which point,
where are your real bombs?
At which point you hear the throat clearing of Attikus, which manages to cover him awkwardly saying, "Because I love you," under his breath. Meanwhile, Valentyne, you're over with Varen. You've just thrown back a standard Vicodin, which kind of tastes like comparatively flat to Vicodin heritage, and yet you find yourself wanting another one as soon as the taste has kind of left your lips. You can definitely, I think, being trained for such things, like whatever the process they're using on this new stuff is, it is clearly meant to be addictive beyond simply the alcoholic content. Like, there's something to this. But Varen is, to your, I guess, edification, giving it an equally, like, he's giving the face that I think you wanted to give when you rolled your check to not give it. And he just says, well, that is truly horrific. That is hell. That is hell in a cup. Hot and honey? What were they thinking? Oh, well. And then he looks left, looks right. He leans and he says, actually, maybe I can answer my own question. Things aren't going so great for old Glasgow. The business was in pretty sharp decline when he took over. And yeah, he turned it around with the new brand, but it's just not taking hold in the other worlds, you know? The rogue traders don't like coming out here. You set up this whole weird fucking Wonderland situation for people to come hang out at, but no one wants to come here. This planet sucks. I mean, it was nice back before the war, but the war's not going anywhere. And he can't tell anyone about the war. So they really limited who was allowed to come here, you know?
Yes, that would be a tremendous problem. Well, I mean, does he not have the right people in charge? Like, who's running this place? Who are the important people around?
Well, I mean, there's the foreman, of course, Balphus Bale, and Ms. Bale is she's pretty good at what she does, but there's not a lot you can do when the product's this bad, you know? And Vicodin's real strict about all these experimentations. Like, he won't let them just settle on. Honestly, I think if they just sold Vicodin Classic, you know, it wouldn't be an empire, but it'd be good enough. So there's her, and of course there's Dr. Octavius, who is the head of the lab, the flavor lab, as they call it. He's the one responsible for trying to come up with abominations like this. Like, I mean, this should be purged. This drink should be purged. Like, they should orbitally bomb this drink. This is terrible. Fuck, man, you know any Inquisitors would really help get rid of this drink, am I right?
I know what you're talking about. I feel the same way.
But yeah, Vicodin, he just spends so much time on his orbital station these days. I don't even know if he knows what's going on down here.
Well, I mean, what would bring him down? Like, if they knew there was a crisis, there's got to be something. I mean, everyone loves something.
Well, look, there's a reason he left Balphus in charge. She runs this place meticulously. And yeah, the product's kind of crap, but like, she makes sure it's coming out on time all the time. Hell, I feel like if you put her in charge of the war, she'd win it overnight and no more orcs. But she's busy in here. So, I mean, she keeps things running pretty smoothly. If hell, I don't even think she's taking a sick day. Because I'd hate to see what would happen to the factory if she wasn't working. And then, of course, there's the Doc, and Doc Tavy, as we call him. It's a joke about his name because you put those two together, it sounds like an animal. You know, the Doc Tavy. Anyway, so Doc Tavy, he's constantly coming up with new things. I mean, I guess if he had a real breakthrough, that might be cause to come down and check it out. Vicodin's desperate to get more product. I mean, he's getting his ass kicked by the Amorsec market. You know, they won't even sell this on the black market. That's part of the reason he can't get an inroads. Imperial Guard hate it.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I didn't try the new flavor, but I could imagine why the Guard might have certain challenges regarding this when Amorsec and others are available.
Right?
True. You're a good man. You're a good man, and you're a good servant of the Emperor.
Oh, thanks, man. That's really nice to hear. Honestly, ever since I misreported that thing and got all those people killed, they just sent me to this backwater planet to report. And it's nice to get some validation, you know? The Trinity Network's, I mean, I don't need to tell you. It's fluff at best and propaganda at worst, but it's really nice to be respected for once, you know?
Yes, here's another question. Got any hot goss on that Trinity Network?
I mean, I work for them. They're the best damn news. Who am I kidding? I mean, you know what they do. We're a back channel where, the Lords of Terra put up with us because we help some of their buds. But I mean, we're just trash to keep the peasants distracted.
Fair enough. Well, I wish you all the best with your quest to find meaning in your life.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry, I don't think I caught your name.
Oh, they call me Commissar Eugene Mordheim.
Eugene Mordheim. That's a name I'll remember. Well, thank you, Eugene. I hope you come by this way again. When you're not on the front.
Yes.
That's far away from here, and he winks broadly.
Exactly. And Valentyne winks back.
And as you leave, you just hear him muttering to himself, like, what a nice guy. You hear a bunch of throat clearing and immediately make your way over, brushing past a guy holding a snow globe, which promptly drops and shatters spectacularly. Glass flies like shrapnel. It doesn't hurt any of you, but it's quite a mess. And he sort of yelps and runs for a mop. But you reconvene with Attikus and Marni. Attikus is using one eye to gesture towards the staff door.
Great, I'll follow. Like this, that makes sense to me. Like, I think it's just an appreciative but curt, very like British officer nod. And then he'll make his way towards that door.
Great. So you guys make it to the door just as it's closing. You kind of put a foot in. and you open it to find a man in full armor. So like proper, not quite Arbites level, like riot gear, but close. With a sort of like a heavy iron mask with the V painted on it. Carrying kind of like a shotgun. He's got like a shock stick at his belt. And there's a couple more similarly heavily armed guys behind him. And you just hear him say, "I think you took a wrong turn there, pal. You want to head back into the gift shop. I'm sure they'll be happy to help you out. Try the snow globes."
Friend, I've been sent from those above.
And he'll reach into his chest and he'll pull out his Inquisitorial rosette and say,
I've been sent by Balphus Billingberg the 12th. I have a message from Ms. Balphus Bale. It is important about the safety of this facility and the prosecution of the ongoing war. I need you to take me to her now.
Okay, man. Fucking roll a very, very important deception check. A second note taped next to the cash register. Snow globes are fragile and deadly. Handle with care. Or else, ... Oh, you know by now. And then there's just a picture of a burning part of the city and a smiley face. Things are bleak on Vicodin. Ryan, go ahead and roll that deception check, sir. You are facing down 3 heavily armored security personnel. They are wearing, as we've described, almost like a step shy of like, think almost like Judge Dredd style gear. So like not quite Arbites, which are just Judge Dredd, but the sort of cheaper version of that, but still like heavily armored, carrying heavy weapons. There are 3 of them, and they are massive. But you have brought a hell of a whopper of a lie, saying that you have orders from Inquisitor Billingberg himself that you must deliver to the Foreperson Balphus Bale immediately. Those names in that combination, pretty solid play. There's some rules and regulations that I know about, and I'm not sure if they do, and this dice will determine it, which may determine how many holes appear in your chest. So let's roll and find out. This is going to be a difficulty. I'm going to say difficulty 4. No, 3. 3. I'm going to spend a story point to upgrade one of those to a red, because there are a lot of rules and regulations and like procedures to be followed for stuff like this that you are not following. However, there's a lot of weird shit going on in this exact moment. So it's not outside the realm, but it is unusual.
Yeah, I want to spend a story point as well to up a die on my side, because I do think from what we've seen of Valentyne, he is kind of a master of the big lie. Like, it's so big and so shocking and so out of nowhere, and he has physical proof that this is his forte.
I would also argue that in terms of like, best lies and best propaganda being like, 80% truth, the authority with which you're speaking is the same authority you've used on everyone you've met on this adventure so far. Just saying like, I am the fucking Inquisitor, listen to me. The only difference is you're saying different names instead of it me. So I do feel like the confidence and that like, it'd be different if it was like Attikus or Marni being like, I'm the Inquisitor, let me in. But you saying
that'll be said at some point.
It sounds exactly right. It's just out of sync. So I like that. Okay, so you've burned a story point, I burned a story point, so we're out of story points for this now. In terms of boost and setback, I will give you a boost for just the way you look. There shouldn't be a commissar here. That doesn't actually make any fucking sense. The like security staff would understand that. The fucking network host would not. So in theory, that should actually be worse for you, except that it's so strange and out of place that it would actually make sense that it's an Inquisitor It's the Luke Skywalker being too short to be a stormtrooper thing, where it's just like it's so out of place that suddenly being like, I'm an Inquisitor. It's like, oh, that of course that's the only reason you could look like this. So you get a boost for that. You get a I was going to give you a setback, but I actually don't think anything else here would cause one. It would make sense that an Inquisitor would travel with a retinue. So you guys kind of look like weird, like fucked up monsters, but
Can I assist in any way?
how would Attikus assist this particular lie?
In terms of social skills, Atticus's strengths lie in coercion, not like charming people or deceiving people or anything like that. So I think, quite truthfully, he wouldn't be lying by saying this, but basically, I think he would just lift a thumb to show that he has like a perfectly good set of eyes, like this is a cover. Just lift a bandage up, and he would just like quietly say like, "Let us through, boy. There are bigger things at play here than you know."
Interesting. Okay, one second.
I like it.
It's great. No, it's fantastic. I need to check their stats because I need to see how smart they are. Because I think this will either add a boost or a setback depending on how put together these guys are.
Sorry, I just not help.
I liked it.
No, it's great. And it's exactly what he would do. And as you can probably imagine, security for like a facility that hides behind a giant energy shield and has an army outside, they follow orders to a T, and authority scares them. So looking at their stats, I'm going to add a boost dice. I think that's great, Tyler.
Yes.
Anything's possible in the darkness
Valentine's
of the
eyes
future.
don't change because they're robotic, but they would have gotten a little wider and then settled when he saw them like get a little shy.
Like you can imagine, it's it's like the Spider-Man like eyes from the MCU, where it's just like the eye is like. Great. And Marni, I imagine you would just be like standing by to fight if fighting was to be had. Is that correct?
Yes. Speaking, I'm very aware that's not my strong suit.
Do you want to like use your power pack or your hell gun or your plasma rifle?
Or flex your new
Tom,
power pack.
offer
which
me a
is your
devil's
butt.
bargain or offer me nothing.
I offer you nothing. Great. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense to me. So that's good. Ryan, I would give you a setback for like the people you're tailing getting away, but I think your iron. I'm sorry, what's the name on that skill? It's Iron Resolve.
It is, if I can find it, Tempered Will.
Tempered Will. I think that would shrug it off. Here's the thing. I'm still going to flag those because I think just as kind of we all still collectively learn the system and continue to kind of grow as kind of players in this Genesys mod, it's worth us collectively kind of having this in case I'm missing anything that you guys want to throw in is like, hey, I think this would be a bonus or this would be a setback. So I'm still going to flag those things. Also, it's always nice to know that your like passive power is working. But yeah, I think you would shrug that anxiety off.
The skull crawlers aren't something that Valentyne gives a shit about, or I might be like, no, we should add it anyways, but no, that's not a target that he's particularly fascinated by.
That's actually a very good point. Okay, so yeah, then I don't think we would add it. Okay, I think that's it for the spread.
All right, let's see what happens. 1 triumph, 1 threat.
Ooh, okay. Well, the good news is that with your triumph, it also counts as a success. So that does mean that you succeed the check. The threat is interesting. So I think what will happen is the lead guard will kind of tilt his head in that classic stormtrooper way because the mask is pretty blank. and he'll say, "Oh, I'm very sorry to impede you, Lord Inquisitor. I will of course accompany you to Miss Bale now." And he just like barks an order, and basically the 3 guards drop into the equivalent of like the VIP like escort crew. So 2 of them in front. He falls back to the back, so behind Marni and Attikus. And the good news is that they're going to take you to Bale. The bad news is they're coming with you, and you get the sense that even though he's on side, there is still, and unfortunately, I think we can safely say, as is true, the Inquisition is such a shadowy force that like they have unbridled authority, but they don't answer to anyone, and no one like hangs out with them. So I think there is still that sense of like, we don't really know what the score is here. So success, but with a threat. Now you did get a triumph, so you do get an extra little whammy there. How would you like to burn that bad boy?
Is there like a specific list of options, or can I?
There are combat options, certainly. Let me give you
we're
some.
Not really fighting them though.
No, I know, but we can use them for general inspiration. I've actually got it right here. So, triumph. Yeah, you can think of it as a more powerful version of an advantage. So normally it'd be like trigger criticals, all that sort of jazz. That said, you kind of know how I like to roll with these things. So I guess my question to you then, perhaps let's not worry so much about the actual spending charts. You can either carry a boost forward for anyone in your party.
Okay.
Or you can tell me what you would ideally like to accomplish from this triumph.
Cool. Knowing that I've got the authority, they're wary, but they're still there. When we get to Balphus Bale's office, can I order them to stay outside while I speak with her? So they're not in the room. We can have a conversation with her, but if anything goes wrong, they're right there, so we don't get rid of the threat either.
I think he'll come with you, but he'll leave the other 2 out, if that works.
Sure.
Okay, you know what? How about this? Let's say the triumph buys you that check when we get to the door.
Sure.
And in an ideal world, he would still stick with you because he's a little uncertain. But
we'll see where the check goes with it. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, does that work?
Yeah. I mean, also, we could kind of cut to that because Valentyne wouldn't say shit. Once you get a yes, you don't tell more stories.
No, 100%.
Also, Valentyne's thrilled because he had no idea where this fucking lady's office was.
Yes, this is of benefit. Okay, great. So the guards carry you like sort of escort you through. And again, if you ever have been through the staff entrance of anywhere that has an outward facing sort of client or guest area, it's always like stripped down. Like there's no pomp and circumstance back here. We're talking like white concrete walls. There's like a weird, like occasional decoration. Like there's like best distillery on Vicodin 5 years running that is clearly just printed by them to feel special. There's old posters for what is now Vicodin Heritage. And you see doors kind of leading off to other spaces. Far ahead of you, you can see the skull crawlers who honestly, like, this is kind of an embarrassingly small hallway. It's like anytime wrestling does like, oh no, they're out of the ring and into the backstage. It's just like massive people walking through a fairly small space. It actually really drops their status quite a bit because they just look uncomfortable. And they're just under like stark fluorescent lights, which of course being 40K are in like incredibly like intense heavy metal casings with like horrible grills over them, with kind of almost like little barbed wire spikes. Eventually, you start passing windows that are clearly one-way glass, looking out onto the production floor. You can see everything looks ancient and well kept, and there's kind of monks moving about. And echoing down the hall from ahead of you, you can hear an actual tour guide giving the skull crawlers the kind of VIP tour. And it's a very sort of haughty, like, so this is what we show the idiots. They all come here because they want to see how it's done. So we kept all the old machines that, great-great-great-grandpa Vicodin used, but it's all bullshit. We don't do anything up here. The actual floor is downstairs where Doc Tavy does most of his magic. And realistically, I mean, you all know what goes into this sort of stuff, and we could not show anyone that. And there's like a sort of laughter and like some snarky comments. And she says, so anyway, needless to say, we're taking you on the proper VIP tour. So get ready to see the fruits of your labor, skull crawlers, because we've got a bunch of vats full of your victims to show you. Come on, right this way. Also, we really hope you've saved room. Doc Tavi's main course is going to blow your minds. Just, it's like Mom always said, don't forget to eat your greens. Am I right? Okay, come on, this way. You're carried past that as they kind of exit out a big set of double doors that you can just kind of catch a glimpse of them descending down some stairs. You carry on to an elevator, a small lift that takes you down sort of through the slats. Think of it again as like a mining elevator. You can see the skull crawlers making their way into a much more industrial facility. So think like a chemical plant, like just a real, there's no bells and whistles down here, just massive tanks. You can smell an incredibly sweet flavor on the air that Attikus and Valentyne, you would definitely recognize as evoking Vicodin, if not the actual flavor itself. Kind of like how, if you walk near a Subway, you can smell a better smelling bread than exists in the Subway, but it's just there. And it's like, oh, this could be delicious. And finally, you kind of arrive where you saw the skull crawlers going down. You arrive at a catwalk that is suspended above them with kind of a big overseer's sort of office. So the skull crawlers are actually down on the floor now, moving around. The elevator has dropped you off on the catwalk. It is a pretty deep underground thing. This has clearly been built a long time ago and has been in operation for some time. Skull crawlers are still making their way down the stairs as you enter the office. So Ryan, go ahead and roll that check. You can see that the sort of head of security, Zavala Tunica, wants to go in with you. Like, it's not even a question. He's just like over your shoulder, ready to walk in. But given your triumph, you stop him at the door.
Yeah, and then I think be something along the lines of, my friend, this message is for the ears of Balphus Bale alone. The cost to those who listen in on the Inquisition's messages is terribly high. Then we'll just see what happens.
Ryan, what is there an icon that the retinue would carry? Is that standard practice?
Like the Inquisitorial retinue?
Yeah.
Not traditionally. It basically, for those who would know, and I don't know if these people would know or not, an Inquisitor will send a rosette with somebody to essentially prove they're working on the Inquisition's behalf, because there's no one in the fucking galaxy who would steal one for like a lark. But no, they're like, they could wear an Inquisition symbol if they're like hardcore. Like they may have seen Inquisitorial stormtroopers if they've seen like what's his name, Balphus, come by, which is just like literal stormtroopers but black with like the Inquisition eye on them.
Okay, great. No, that's all I need. Thank you. So he lifts his collar and there is the Inquisitorial mark, and he says, "Oh, I'm well aware, Lord Inquisitor. Inquisitor Billingberg trusts me to be his eyes and ears on the ground while he is in space. So rest assured, what you say in my presence is as safe as I'm sure what he told you." And there's a little bit of an edge on that, as if you should know this. But again, Inquisition is such a vast shadow organization, and this guy isn't an Inquisitorial stormtrooper. He's just a dude who has a cool pin. So
yeah, I think then Valentine's
basically got the junior Cub Scout thing. Sure, you can be a police officer, little Jimmy. Thanks for touring the precinct. Here's a badge. And he's like, oh boy. Yeah. Volunteer sheriff.
Why is there a bear in the corner?
If you're here on behalf of the Inquisitor, then of course you would understand that when he says orders are for someone's ears only, you should not insert yourself into that conversation.
I understand, Lord Inquisitor, but I am his ears.
Stay out here.
All right, roll them bones, buddy.
I think we've gone from deception to probably coercion, realistically.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying the boss is my friend the most.
Yeah, and also, like, realistically, you're also not lying. You're telling him if he comes in, you're going to kill him.
Yeah.
It's not a like, where's the lie?
Yeah.
Marni and Attikus, over the course of, before Ryan rolls, over the course of walking through kind of the nondescript backstage hallway, you had a chance to size up these other two sort of corpo sec, like security dudes, corporate security guys.
Yep.
What do you think you would have been? Obviously, like, Valentyne was very focused on the lie and also where they were going and observing everything he could. What would the two of you been trying to observe about these other two security people, and kind of what would your individual plans be, do you think?
I think I'm just like totally in defensive mode, like just ready to I'm just honestly watching their patterns of movement. Like I'm aware that anyone around us is going to become adversaries at any moment. So it's just like, where are they looking? What are they checking? How alert are they?
Sure.
How difficult is it going to be to take them down?
Okay. And Tyler, how about you?
In the fight pits of Publius, an opponent's stance can be very telling of their intentions. Since we're on a catwalk, Attikus is preparing to basically toss these guys over because it's just fast. And we have wounded in our crew. Like, a straight fight seems like not smart. So he's basically wanting to see if these guards are bracing for that kind of tactic.
If Adam McNamara were playing them, they might be bracing, but check out Dumb Scum and Villainy if you don't know what the fuck that refers to. You'll have your answer by the end of episode 1.
Like,
stick around for the rest.
Weapons, or are they on handrails? Is the stance wide? Are they walking? Because if they're walking, like, you can kind of catch them when they're mid-slide off balance, kind of thing.
Okay, those are both really, really cool things. I'm glad that's the way you guys are thinking about this. So, Tyler, are you trained in skullduggery? Is that an Attikus skill?
No.
Okay. Maybe take it then as like a coordination. Would that make sense? I'm trying to think of like what the best skill for gaining an advantage in this kind of situation would be for you. I mean, I guess it could even be like a melee roll. It's not that you're doing it, but I'm basically rolling to see how, rather than me just dictating what their stance is and how pliable they are, I'd rather let the dice determine it. Maybe athletics, because you'd be like trying to toss them up and over. What skill do you think you'd use?
Athletics would be nice, but if we're talking about, secretly sizing up an opponent for an opening, I mean, it's probably cunning. It's probably perception, which is not great, but that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I would say like perception or streetwise, and those are both cunning. And I'm not great at either one, but that just makes sense.
Okay. Well, Tyler, how about this? Let's cut it down the middle. Use your perception, but also your brawn. Because the thing is, what I'm trying to find the intersection on here is like if a mixed martial artist or like a UFC fighter or something is sizing up their opponent, they're not like, how could I trick them? They're literally saying like, okay, I have this skill set. I'm aware that stance and blah, blah, blah. And it just seems to me that it's less about, like, you're not doing the Sherlock Holmes, like, aha, if I trick him, then I can do it. It's literally just being like, well, if he throws a left hook, I have to duck.
Right.
Like, I can't. So I want to kind of give you the advantage of your physical training
Okay.
while still limiting it so it isn't just like an instant pass. So yeah.
Okay. So then that is 6 green dice because I have no ranks in perception, but Brawn gives me 6.
Okay, cool. Very good. I'm going to say this is a difficulty of 2. You've had a decent amount of time to observe them. I like that you dropped the fighting pit reference. That does like add credence to how good you'd be at this. Also, just a fun detail I didn't know. Ways to cheat the DM who likes stories. Tell the DM a story he likes. I think I'll give you a boost for them being completely unaware that you're doing this. And also there's not really a whole hell of a lot there. They can't be like, I'll just walk in different dumb ways so he can't possibly get me. I will, however, give you a setback for being distracted by also trying to track where the skull crawlers are going. I think that revenge piece is pretty high, sits pretty high in your mind. So it's that awkward thing, like whenever I get a tweet about a possible PlayStation 5 drop and I'm in the middle of something important at work and I'm trying not to think about the tweet about the possible PlayStation 5 and failing, they're there, and also they're starting to get out of sight. Like this, as vital and important as the situation is, you just can't help but worry about them. We are currently at an even split because Ryan and I both spent story points last round, so we're still at 2 and 2.
Right.
Don't think I'm going to spend one on this. I think this is a nice, clean. Also, you're not like trying to toss the guy. This is just like you're in the zone. You're trying to figure it out. Anything else you want to add or subtract or anything else? You can certainly spend if you want. If anyone else has boosts or setbacks they think should be included in this, I'm open to them.
This one feels like a pretty clean one to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not looking for anything else here, I don't think.
Okay, great. Go for it.
5 successes to advantage.
You throw them off the banisters onto the skull crawlers.
Perfect. And then they
okay.
explode for no reason.
Yeah. Because it's a Michael Bay movie. So in looking at these dudes,
You realize both guards are just 2 children on top of each other's shoulders in a costume.
Just 2 Vincent Adeltmans. All right, so I think what'll give you that, Attikus, is in observing the way these guys are moving and the type of armor they're wearing, and thinking about the kind of security you would actually need in a place surrounded by a shield with an army. There's a lot of shock and awe going on. These are big dudes. They clearly work out a lot. They're in like good physical condition, but they're not frontline. And realistically, they're like armored bouncers. So what that says to you is you've seen guys like this before who don't have the requisite training to be actually dangerous beyond just packing on muscle and being armored and carrying a gun, which is still a threat, obviously, but you feel very confident that if it came to a dance and you want to toss one of these guys or both of them, you'd have a distinct advantage.
Okay, good to know.
And with your 2 points of advantage, I'll say you can convey that to Marni. I think it's, again, just like kind of that game recognized game military thing. We're just like a nod at them and then darting your eyes to the side of the catwalk. It's a pretty clear, like...
Where else are they going to go? Yeah.
Yeah. And Marni, I think given Tyler's wild success there, I think it's safe to say that you both observe the same things. I think, Marni, in your case, it's less about like, all right, like I can tactically observe, and more so you think you're as big, if not slightly bigger than these two, which means like whatever, you can toss them wherever you want.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, it's like if Gimli and Gwendolyn, Brienne of Tarth. There we go. Gimli and Brienne of Tarth. Yeah, we're like hanging out. That's what we look like.
Yeah, but like if Gimli was just John Rhys Davies' actual height. You're a big guy,
I am short, but
are you?
Yeah, I am short.
Okay, no, he's massive. He's a very tall guy.
Yeah, no,
as I learned from Sliders. Brian, go ahead and roll your tough check.
What's my difficulty, Tom?
Difficulty of... You've been arguing a lot, so I'm going to say difficulty 4. And I would like to point out that this is not necessarily a smart difficulty 4 on his part, because a fight with you is really not advisable. But he's also got a very specific fiefdom and a very specific role that he's very determined to defend. It's a bit of that Dwight Schrute thing where it's like he's got so little by way of power that what power he has from the Inquisition he wants to defend strongly. I will give you a boost for, again, just you're not lying. You are literally telling him what the consequences are as an Inquisitor. Normally I'd give you a setback for the goons, but I think as time slows, like in a Telltale game with an important decision, and you look up, you see that like both Attikus and Marni's body language suggests that they are like ready to do some tossing. So you're not worried about the additional goons. It's a welcome change from Lyric and Alto, where you'd be guaranteed that both of them would somehow get mortally injured by these goons, and then you would get hurt. So that's good. Trying to think if there's anything else I would throw in here. Yeah, I think that's it for me. I will spend a story point to jack up the difficulty.
So,
you know what? I will give you a point of boost from your triumph. I feel like just giving you a dice roll wasn't enough, so I'll give you one more from that. And you're going to spend one as well, I assume?
yeah, I'll spend one as well.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
When an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, an Inquisitor who needs something, and a stupid man who doesn't want to be left out of an important conversation meet.
Only one of them is the name of the show. Who will survive? Time will tell.
Okay, I have 2 advantage and 3 failure.
All right.
I kill them. I kill them all.
Well, again, just a reminder, this was the wait outside conversation, not a if you come inside, I'll shoot you in the face conversation.
Okay. He reaches for his gun. Like he's already got it out, but he kind of like adjusts his grip. But he also, you can see he's doing that uncomfortable bully faced with authority thing, where he's kind of like twisting the gun. You can tell he wants to use it, but he says, I can see that an immovable object has been an unstoppable force. He says, I'll offer you this. These helmets, and he like clanks on the side of his Man in the Iron Mask helmet. He says, they are not great for the senses. Here's my final offer before Mr. Bang Bang here gets involved. You hate that he calls his gun that. It's just bad form. Says, I will accompany you inside. That's a requirement. I'll leave my 2 compatriots out here. They're very capable and definitely sure-footed. They're not. He says, but I will turn off my comm link. I just need to be in the room to ensure that nothing untoward occurs with Forewoman Bale. But I will turn off my headset, and thus you may have your conversation privately, but under my watchful eyes. You note that he did previously say his senses are wildly compromised by this helmet, and sure enough, he points at the little eye slits. They're not that watchful. But basically he'll come in with you, but he'll turn off his headset, so he won't be able to hear what you're saying.
Great. And Valentyne will give like a solemn nod and raise a hand and rest it on the man's shoulder and say, you passed the test, friend. You could protect this conversation, and you stood up as the Inquisitor would wish it. He told me that there were capable forces on this world, and it's good to know that there are. After you. And he'll just gesture towards the door.
It's hard to hear because it's in a metal mask, but you think you hear a like a big, like just every breath he's ever taken in his life is exhaled at once. And you just hear him say, nailed it. And then he walks into the room. You follow, and the door slams behind you.
Oh, my people aren't coming with me. It's just me, just to be clear.
Yes.
Great. Great. I think on the way past, then knowing the other helmets are bad. Oh no, do you know? I'd turn back. I don't have to be secret. The helmets are bad. Who fucking cares? And I'd say to them, make sure we aren't interrupted and that things stay quiet out here, no matter what occurs. Quiet. And then he'll turn and go in, hoping they get the fucking message to not just like throw people off the balcony into vats if they hear shit go bad.
And the two guards salute and say, "Yes, sir, Lord Inquisitor." And then they like turn to the two of you, and you hear one of them turn to the other one and go, "They didn't even say yes, sir, Lord Inquisitor. These guys suck." And with the death glares that both of you are giving on camera that those of you listening at home may not see, the door slams and Valentyne goes to confront Forewoman Bale. From a deleted audio recording overheard on staff radio in Vicodin Plant 1. Now remember, Zavala, if anyone challenges that you are part of the hand of the Inquisition, you just show them this little pin, and this ought to tell them everything they need to know. You got that? Yes, sir. Oh, sorry, sir. It occurs to me my comm link is on, sir. You fucking worthless piece of shit. Turn that off. Lessons were learned that day. Marni and Attikus, you watch Valentyne, having given you the warning that you keep things quiet, disappear into the office of Foreperson Balphus Bale. You unfortunately cannot see inside the office from here. Like all smart bureaucrats, she has ensured there is no window on this side with which to see how busy or not busy she is at any given time, to make it much easier to avoid meetings she doesn't want. You are standing outside with the two remaining corporate security soldiers, who Attikus has sized up and has determined are very, very tossable, and has managed to convey that to Marni. So I guess my question to the two of you is, obviously we're going to cut inside the office in a moment to see what happens with Valentyne and Bale. But I'm curious kind of what preparations you might make, what small talk you might make, what things you might do in the meantime, knowing that you either will be out here for a while, or that you'll need to act very quickly, or maybe you just want to off these two people because you're also now out of line of sight of Zavala, the head of security as well. So what would you two like to do? Marni, let's start with you.
I think I think Marnie's like, do you know what? I want to try like being around people again, and like, you know, we're not supposed to cause trouble out here or like make noise, then, well, fuck, I have to get my information some other way. So I think it would be to get them talking, the CorpSec guys. So I think she starts she just says, "We are always left out of the important conversations. It seems you are too. Look how much we have in common."
Oh boy. Marni, can you roll me a, God help us, a charm? I'm going to make this a difficulty of 2 because you're not trying to coerce them in any way. You're just trying to make friends. But it is still 2 because you're bad at it.
Yeah. Like, I have nothing to boost with.
Well, okay. Laura, I will give you 1 boost because I think in the same way that Attikus felt more at home with the Skullcrawler unit than he did with kind of the rank and file of the Glorious Regals, I feel like this particular setup of like the muscle being left out of a chat, like this is actually a comfortable zone. And I think perhaps why you've decided to like try and reintegrate into society, because like theoretically, like you're kind of like in a different world. You're 4 people in shower stalls at the gym, and you can talk about working out because you're at a gym. So it's like these are people that you actually have something in common with, which is like you're actually kind of used to this. So I'll give you 1 boost for this actually being fairly comfortable territory for you.
Yeah, that's yeah. All right, cool.
I don't think I'm going to give you any setback. Again, this is a pretty innocuous check.
All right, rolling. 1 failure.
You
should have left that comment about having so much in common. I think that really gave it up.
They look at you, and they both kind of look you up and down, and chuckle a little bit inside their helmets. And one of them says, "Yeah, we are very alike, except that we have weapons and are not bleeding to death, and you are."
Seriously, I'm not bleeding to death. You just should have seen me like a couple of hours ago. Then I was bleeding to death. Now I am in perfect health. And I have these weapons. And I just hold up my hands.
Attikus, this is all happening. Are you saying or doing anything, or just letting this play out?
Letting this play out for now. Kind of tickled by Marni's like frustration at socializing.
So the mouthy one says, "Oh yeah, you think you're so tough? Well, why don't you prove it? We have a few minutes. Perhaps some arm wrestling is in order."
I will wrestle your arm to the ground or to the surface. Whatever surface we arm wrestle on, you have a stool.
And he just like gestures to the other guy, and the other guy, like, he clearly means like, "Can you get on all fours and be our stool?" And the guy just like he has that like classic full body Kiff from Futurama, like the shoulders just drop. It's just like this fucking guy. And he kind of looks around, and actually he'll look to you, Attikus, and just kind of like gesture to like find something for these idiots.
I'll just like don't look at me, man. Like I've got a job to do.
So fucking frustrated. All right, so he casts around, and he finds like a box with some like important looking documents, and he shakes them off, and he brings them over, and he like dumps it down. And the other guy's doing all those like Henry Cavill arm reloads, getting ready. And he says, "Well, I hope you don't bleed through a rib." And his friend's like, "That's not how ribs work." Okay, great. And then he turns to you, Attikus, and he's like, "I don't know. I got 2 crowns on her."
I don't gamble while I'm working.
You guys are Inquisition. You are exhausting. Okay. All right. And he turns to the big meaty guy, and he's like, "All right, Hugh, just don't fuck us on this one. You want to bet against me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I bet 2 crowns on me." And he's like, "All right, great, good." And he turns to you, Marni, and he's like, "Look, lady, I know we just met, but I could really use the crowns. So can you kick my friend's ass?"
I would do it regardless of your position.
Yeah, that seems to be my lot in life. All right, well, let's have a good, clean fight. It just turns to Judge Mills Lane. Like, "All right, good, clean fight. Ding, ding." Just like it hits the side of his helmet. So Marni, you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm left-handed, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, I see. It's the Princess Bride gambit.
Yeah. No, it's honestly like Marni would like work out her right hand like so much to compensate
also,
for
admittedly,
any potential weakness.
There's also a distinct difference between like, oh, this is my dominant hand, which I use to write, and both of these could be used for punching, lifting, or climbing.
Yeah, seriously. Like it's we're not talking about like fine motor skills here.
Punching does not recognize hands.
We'll see. Is she going to go over the top? There are important questions about technique.
Man,
damn.
That wrist will break.
Over the top.
Sounds like wistful thinking to me.
Boo!
It's a haunted distillery. All right, so Marni, you reach out your massive meaty hand and meet the distinctly still meaty but less meaty hand of Hugestinosis, your opponent. And with that, muscles bulge, eyes, I'm sure, like narrow, shoulders tense, core strength is engaged. And the two of you lock in that deadliest of all games, arm wrestling. Meanwhile, inside the office, Valentyne, you follow Zavala in, and you find yourself in like very much it's the foreperson's office, but in our world it would be one of those like portables that either get attached to schools or like construction sites, where it just is like all the walls seem like flimsy in the way only portable walls can. There's that like weird kind of like shaped plastic paneling situation where they're somehow both like incredibly smooth and incredibly pockmarked. The carpet is a sickly green that unfortunately matches a lot of the livery of the of some of the Vicodin product, but it looks like Vicodin heritage. Like this carpet's been here for a few generations, and it shows. You entered and are just hit by a thick cloud of a sweet, sickly smoke. And behind a desk, surrounded by data slates and a couple of like those massive 40K computers that are like a full fucking console deal and like a typewriter.
Cogitators, as they get called in the books.
Big old cogitator setup that is running the equivalent of like DOS. So it's very much like the green, classic 40K green text, black screen situation.
Yes.
You see a woman who is, she, for lack of a better term, looks a bit like a thumb covered in paper cuts. Like she's just like a squat, rough-looking woman. She's wearing one of the robes, like the Vicodin robes, which clearly just seems to be the thing that everyone has to wear. But hers is basically like she's used a bunch of different, like she's got like a utility harness on with a bunch of pockets. She kind of looks like a Rob Liefeld character. She's just used a bunch of different sort of belts and harnesses to make this robe almost more like ninja garb, like something actually functional to walk around in. She's wearing like big, muddy, dirty boots that she's got up on her desk. And she's got sort of a long cylindrical pipe in one hand that ends in a glassy orb. And you're not sure what the intoxicant coming out of it is, but again, I feel like all the Inquisitors are trained with like a variety of poisons and to recognize this sort of stuff. It's definitely an illegal drug of some kind. You're not sure what it is, but it's got that sickly, I mean, in modern terms, it would be like an opium smell. It's not opium, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, in a factory setting, it's more likely to be an upper than a downer.
100%. Yeah. This is basically just like her like trucker speed pipe. She has just massive glasses on, like big, square, thick. You can see that they too have a bunch of little nicks in them that almost seem like when the light catches the glasses, it almost looks like stars. Like there's just like a number of like little glimmering things. Anyone who's driven a car in Alberta just has these in their windshield, and they're great. But you get the sense that they're both corrective and likely safety eyewear. And the rest of her face is a testament to how often things go pear-shaped in this particular factory. So as soon as the two of you enter, she immediately, like, the feet come down. Like, there's no kind of, I'm Lord God of this domain. It just seems like she was legitimately having a moment of relaxation. And she very hurriedly kind of stands up and adjusts herself a little bit and immediately kind of walks over with an extended hand and just says, I've been assured that no one would interrupt our operations here unless they were very important. So you must be very important. My name is Balphus Bale, and this is my factory. How can I help you?
It is a pleasure to meet you, Balphus Bale. I have been sent on behalf of Inquisitor Barthus Billingberg the 12th. I have messages specifically for you, but first I have questions. May we sit?
She nods and kind of like shoots a look to Zaval to see what he's doing. And he's just kind of like standing with gun at the ready, but clearly has not heard any of this. And she kind of shrugs and she says, I mean, sure, you're welcome to. I'm just surprised you'd go through all the trouble of what, saving a couple hours?
Yes, sometimes time is of the essence.
Well, okay. I mean, we were getting everything ready for him, but if you got something to say, I guess we can say it here. Sorry about the state of the place. It's a magical wonderland upstairs, and down here it's just a bunch of this. So here, you can have my chair. I'll perch.
Excellent. And then I think he would look to the security guy and just slowly kind of raise his bolt pistol, not with hands on like trigger or anything, but just picking it up kind of by the butt of the gun, looking to the security guy and just be like, if I put this down somewhere outside of my reach, could you stop hovering with a weapon in your hand? Could this all just be a little bit more relaxed?
He doesn't move.
Excuse me. Well, excuse me a moment. And he'll just go over and just kind of like approach and repeat the same thing, but like from a foot away instead of across the room.
And Zavala like gives an exaggerated nod and goes, I'm sorry. I thought you were trying to threaten me again, just badly. Yeah, sure. That's fine. I'll be over here. And it just like moves to a corner and it does that like gun over the shoulder thing that like looks cool, but is completely useless with a big gun because you can't fire it in any fast way from here.
Cool. Then Valentine's going to like take his bolt pistol and I'm sure there's like some sort of shelf or something.
Oh yeah, totally.
She's got it. So mid room, but just set it on one of those and then go sit down to talk to Balphus. And just be like, so obviously you've said you're hours away. How are the preparations going?
Well, look, I'll level. I'm sorry. What's your name? I hate not knowing people's names.
My name is Eugene Mordheim.
All right. Lord Mr. Mordheim, look, preparations are going pretty well. As requested, we're prepping the meal to try out on the I don't know, the head punters or something. I don't know. There's some war heroes from outside. They're part of our best suppliers. They've really fixed a few problems in our supply line. Is she just kind of taps the side of her nose, as you know. So the good news is that Doc Tavy has promised me that when we serve the Lord Mr. Actual Inquisitor Man's meal, it'll be we're doing a dry run, so we're not testing out the recipe on him because I know he'd hate that, but I'm sure he'll be very pleased. And you can see there's like a little bit of like a little bit of a curl to her lip as she's describing this. It's a little distasteful to her, but yeah, she just kind of nods and takes another like long drag off the pipe.
A four-person Balphus. I've heard some interesting rumors. And I'm going to ask you questions regarding those rumors. And to be clear, the Inquisition's interests are manifold, so you may think that there is a correct answer, but the real answer I'm looking for is the true one, for you may be useful in ways you do not intend.
Okie dokie.
I have heard that you would rather focus on the classic forms of Vicodin, heritage, the old ways, and abandon these new, strange and different methods of creation. Is this true?
Her eyes go wide, and it's honestly, Valentyne, it's a look you're used to. It's the everyone kind of like, no one really knows what the Inquisition's about, so everyone kind of assumes that you're all like weird psychic gods all the time. And it's the classic, like, you know, shell game at a fucking carnival where you like guess the weight, she is well taken with the like, how did you know?
Good. Now, don't make any sudden movements because we don't want our friend with the shotgun to become more curious. I have my sources because the Inquisition always does. I've also heard that if it were up to you, that you would see this war ended and the Orc menace wiped off the face of this earth. Is that true?
Well, yeah, the Xenos must be purged. I mean, that's basic knowledge. I mean, sure, there are, you know, properties that have led to some interesting advancements in the beverage game, sure, but I mean, that's not worth spitting in the face of everything our glorious emperor has brought us, you know?
Then I have a final question for you, to be said quietly between friends. Do you want to save this world and in recompense receive its governorship and a rogue trader's mandate?
She looks left and right, which is not a subtle gesture when your glasses are that big, and then says, and you can tell she's like really running the numbers here. Ryan, I'm going to need you to roll me, I think probably a charm or negotiation. Here's the thing. You are telling the truth and offering her a legitimate thing. She's been trained to believe that Inquisitors are constantly asking tests, so she's trying to determine whether this is a trap to have her executed, as seems to happen a lot to a lot of her employees, or if this is legitimate. You know it's legitimate, but this test, this dice roll, is to determine whether or not you can convey your earnesty to her in a way that will actually land. Which of the two would you like to take?
Probably negotiation. I don't think Valentyne ever really tries to charm anyone. I think he just lays out facts and they more or less don't believe him.
Keep in mind in this framework, it would be like the charm would be in, oh, I get it. You're being like, you're leveling with me, not like, well, hey, beautiful, how's it going?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, honestly, he's also equally bad at both skills. So
no, and I think negotiation makes sense. You are legitimately negotiating with her. It's just whether or not she can come to believe it. So I'm going to make this a difficulty 3, just because unfortunately the layers of subterfuge that exist on this planet are big enough that she's constantly worried. I'll give you a boost because you've already flexed on things that she doesn't believe you should know, given that you're technically not, like, in her mind you just came straight here from whatever space dock you landed on, so like to her it's astonishing that you know anything about her. She doesn't know about the gift shop. So there'll be 1 boost for that. I'm going to give you a setback for having to poker face all of this, knowing there's a guy who could be listening in. Just because he's definitely acting as though his comms are off. Whether or not they're actually off is an entirely different question. They could well be, but it's, I don't know, that would eat at me. So I'm going to make it eat at you.
Yeah, and I won't fight you on that one because I think that would bother him.
Here's the thing, Ryan. Has Valentyne met enough people on this planet to want to save it from a proper purge? So far you've got 2, by my count, you have 2 NPCs that you're favorable to. There's the lady who helped you guys sneak in
the medic,
past the shield wall.
The medic was decent.
There's the medic, there was the head of the military police, and there's this lady. So you currently have 3 people on planet that you like enough to maybe not want to see get obliterated. Is that enough?
I think in this case, honestly, if I'm talking about like from Valentyne's perspective to walk through like the elaborate thinking process I have as his character, I don't think he really cares about his interested individual people. He hates the orcs and he'd want them wiped out. He doesn't have access to exterminatus grade weapons, and he probably can't send an exterminatus request and it'll actually be respected. So the best case scenario for him is probably save the people who are valuable and put somebody in charge who's visibly less corrupt. And then if he could save the emperor, you know, the end game becomes like circle back around and see if she's evil.
Right.
But
okay.
That's it. Yeah.
That's perfect. I was just trying to kind of isolate where your motivation on this was, because if it was just like I mean, look, if I'm already out and about, I guess I could stop. You know, if I find a convenience store, I'll stop in and get some milk. It's fine. I'm already out. Or if it's like, we really need that milk or cereal's going to suck. And I think in this case, it sounds like if you can't order an exterminatus, you actually do need this to happen. So this is important to you. So I'll give you an additional boost because you're actually like, again, this isn't an errand it's not a side quest you're just punching out because you got a couple minutes. It's of actual legitimate value to you in your quest.
Cool. All right, let's see.
And I'm not going to spend any story points because I think she's too confuzzled to.
I had 2 advantage when I rolled to try to come in the door, but we also had the comlink go off, which feels like the balance on the advantage there. I just wanted to check.
I'd let you carry 1 forward. Sure.
Cool. Can I use that then?
Yeah. So it's 1 more boost.
Dope. All right. Well, it's close enough to just rolling the dice that I'm going to go with that because I want to find out.
Great.
2 advantage, but 1 failure.
Okay. So she goes, wow, you Inquisitors really are as good and scary as they said. You almost got me there. But no, I'm very happy with Lord Vicodin's ownership of the plant and the way he's running the company. My family did develop the original brewing methods here back before it was called Vicodin. So the old recipes mean a lot to me, but I really appreciate all the things Mr. Vicodin's done. Lord Mr. Vicodin has done, building this whole thing and the new stuff. And it's like he says, the galaxy's always changing, so we got to change with it. So no, I'm very happy with all that. So she doesn't
agree with me, but
she is very favorable to you. Like she doesn't feel betrayed by this or anything. She's on side. She just can't out and out say that because she thinks it's an inquisitorial trap.
Yeah, in other words, I'm talking with a smart person. He probably would have been concerned about their ability to save the world if he'd given it to somebody who would cave this easily.
Yep.
I think what he would then say is, are those your personnel? Like, he'd probably look around to see if there's something labeled like personnel or some kind of files in like a thing anywhere, or even behind the desk with him.
It would all be in the, I'm sorry, what's the...
Oh, the cogitator. Okay, yeah,
It'd be all the
perfect.
cogitator, yeah.
I think we say, if you could come around here, could you show me some of your personnel files? I'd like to see what you've got on the top here.
Okie dokie.
Great.
When she goes comes, like click-clacking away.
She comes around and starts typing, and he'll just say, you know what? You're so much smarter than I expected. I'm tremendously impressed by you. I can't wait to do things together. And then I would like to, Tom, do a whole bunch of shit real fast. So that's why I even asked about rules during a break. I have a concealed last pistol hidden on my person that requires 2 maneuvers to draw. So I would like to burn the maneuvers to do that. I have advantage that's carried over, so I've got that as well. And then I would just like to shoot the security person directly. Now that I've got her behind the desk where we're both in cover, it's just drawing concealed last pistol and hoping to kill the security guy. And I'm just counting on the 2 outside to be focused and definitely not distracted by a weird social encounter enough that we can take everybody out quietly.
Amazing. So with that, you produce your hit and gun, turn, and fire. Meanwhile, outside the office, muscles are flexing. Games are happening. Marni, can you please roll me an athletics check?
Totes.
This is going to be difficulty 4. This guy is strong. Based on Attikus's observations, these guys go to the gym a lot to feel powerful, which means they are good at very few things other than muscle-based things. But this is a muscle-based thing, so he is really good at it. So he's putting up a big fight. I'm going to give you a big old point of setback for just how wounded you are.
That's fair.
Using all of your body to try and like just muscle fight someone when you're very badly injured is not great. I will give you 1 point of boost for even though you don't really give a shit that the other guy bet on you. It's a nice ego boost, and I feel like with your troops that was a common thing. Like, it was a real sign of respect when people were betting on you, because they're like, we're all really scary, but you're somehow the scariest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it for me. Yeah.
All right. I don't really think I can add anything to this.
It gave you a boost for self-esteem. I don't think you can add much beyond that either.
Where are we at with story points?
2 and 2.
I don't need to use a story point for this. Fuck.
Good. I didn't want to chime in to remind you that the only thing that keeps us alive if fights go
I
bad.
know.
For the
I
record,
like
every time any of you says that, I become less inclined to let you do it. So
I know.
Just be careful.
I know. End of thought. Just, yeah, all right.
And to clarify, the Deus Ex call-in only works if it's like, logistically, I can believe that this will happen.
Yeah. Of course. We're not saying that it's like an immortality card.
No, in the case of like Marni falling off the thing, I'm like, okay, I can buy an orc trying to grab the biggest gun, like the biggest shooter. Makes sense. If it's like you get shot in the head and your head explodes, like, I Deus Ex it. It's like, okay, your head explodes in a beautiful pattern.
Yeah, that's not a plot twist. That's the plot twist mortality card.
This is my design. Okay, so Laura, go ahead and roll your dice.
all right. Oh, fuck. 1 failure, 1 threat.
Cool. So, Marni, you're struggling against Hugis's arm. And it is a bad struggle. He is just a slab of muscle. And I feel like, again, we can all agree Marni would kick this guy's ass if she was uninjured. But like, you were on death's door, like, I don't know, yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, it's not been a tremendous amount of time. So you can feel stitches popping. You can feel that horrible warmth sort of against your body as blood begins to sort of pool. But also, you're proud, and there's no fucking way you're going to let your old unit down. And honestly, the way you won friends back then was by kicking ass at arm wrestling and fighting and bar brawls, and like basically just kicking ass was how you got to know people. So given that your conversational gambit failed, this is really the only way you can connect with these people. And damn it, you want to connect with some people. So you power through. And the muscles strain. You're both kind of going at it. Attikus, you're observing this. Do you have any stake in this? Is it fun to watch Marni at work? Is it just kind of passing the time? Are you nervous about what might be going on in the office? Where are you at?
That's more it. Is he's nervous about Valentyne on the other side of that door. So when he was told, like, to be watchful and quiet, that's what he's doing. I think he's just looking at the door.
Great. All right. So you hear some shouting and then nothing for a little bit because he was trying to talk to the guy. But everything seems fine. And then finally, there is a Marni, you feel his arm give way. As with all of your strength, you just fucking tear at him. With a mighty roar, you throw his arm down against the case. At which point, you hear a last pistol shot go off in the office. Attikus, you move to try and help, but unfortunately, Marni's victory throws Hugius into you, and the two of you stumble sideways, hit the railing, and begin to go over.
The This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter as Attikus Vis, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter as Marni Schwartzenberger, and our Game Master Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentyne Heresy's show logo was created by Decapitated Markers at Decapitated Marker on Twitter. That's MRKR. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ads use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, provided by freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. We have merchandise available at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, and most importantly, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord of Bradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Taryn Hefner, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Christian Mendez, Anna Zed, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.